Okay, so we should, in fact, be live on YouTube right now. Let us find out. That's an ad. How about now? We are good to go on YouTube, so now we boot up Twitch and make sure everything's running okay over there. And I should probably charge my phone because it is in fact dying. Oh, Ace is streaming. If you're not into D&D, you can go check out Ace's stream. I wouldn't be mad. We are good to go. Nice. Nice. Need this one out for BGMs, but here are my actual notes for the day. We will be down DM Shin, which is unfortunate, but he's got stuff to do. Here, we will tonight have, obviously I'm here because I run the stream, so obviously I got to be here. But DM Lacara should be joining me, and I think we should be good to go, you know? I'm not sure how much more we're gonna get through this. I said last time we might be able to get through the whole thing, but I strongly suspect that Shin is right, and it will be 2 more episodes of this particular supplement, Archibald's Archive. Don't think that there will be a poll at the end of this episode, because we probably won't finish Archibald's Archive. There is a lot more stuff, though there is a lot of it that's cool formatting, but there's a lot of stuff in it that I think all of us are going to have some kind of notes on or want to talk about. So I feel like it will be a bit longer in the tooth than I was originally expecting. And you know what? Sometimes that's what you want. We all just want to talk. We want to talk about D&D. We want to talk about TTRPGs. We want to chat about all this cool stuff. So that's what we're going to do. And ain't no one gonna stop us. Sorry, I'm trying to plug in my phone to make sure that I have a backup chat just in case. Though, oddly enough, most of my backup chat is, I usually leave it on Twitch, even though, for the most part, it's the YouTube chat that gets kind of weirdly funky. Usually YouTube chat, you need like 2 different things going on because it only shows you certain stuff depending on which window you're looking at it in, which is incredibly strange. Why does everything not pop up in the real in the window? It's like, why? Why? I didn't do my usual hello chats. Let me gigantify an emote. Hello chat. Bloop. And over here, we're going to go with a good old... How's it howling, y'all? Boink. I'm just going to hit the buttons so that OBS doesn't bother me during the streams. There we go. Now I won't get any notifications that are like, hey, you didn't share an ad. Hey, you didn't share an ad. Yeah, I know. I don't like sharing ads, you know. I'm very bad at marketing myself. And That's my own problem. Eventually I'll get used to it. I was talking to Dungeon Mommy just now, so she might also join us. Not 100% sure. I'm going to guess no, but I'm not going to rule it out. Also, please do let me know somehow, like even if the stream craps out on either Twitch or YouTube, if there's some issue with the stream, please let me know. You can ping me on Discord or something like that. Hopefully I'll be able to get it, or someone will tell me that it's happening. I don't know if this happens to any of y'all out there, but like once it gets cold, when the temperature first drops, like internet just doesn't work. I don't know why. And I know that there is a joke amongst engineers that antennas function worse in the cold. It is not technically true, but it is observable. And I feel like that just affects everything. I don't know why. It just does. So my internet's been pretty spotty. Right when I went to test to make sure that the jukebox was working, all my internet in my house went out. I was like, "Oh, awesome! This is what I've waited for. I love when you do this to me." As if I need more anxiety. I was looking at a post on Reddit the other day that was like, "Hey, I'm a Twitch streamer and I've been streaming for months and months, and I still get anxiety right before I start a stream and while I'm streaming." And I was like, I don't want to be mean, but the only comment I have to this is, yeah, it's going to be there forever. You'll always have just that little bit of performance anxiety. That's just the way it is. And that's not to say it's a bad thing. It helps you, sure, it gets in the way sometimes, but it also helps you make sure that, you're doing a good job and you can improve over time, which is also great because you don't want to be stagnant forever. You want to get better and better. And if you don't get better, well, you need someone to just give you a little nudge in the right direction. That's all. Can't really stop you one way or the other, though. You want to get on that nice choo-choo train of, I wouldn't say perfection, but tinkering. Try to improve. This is something that like the guys who write the YouTube Secrets book um, from Think Media say all the time. They're like, try to make sure you improve one thing every time you make a video or you do a stream or something like that. And that's very helpful. Like I would hope that I'm improving one thing or at least learning one thing so that I can fix it. Because sometimes you know what the issues are, you just don't have the tech or the knowledge or the know-how to fix that. But when you do gain whatever you needed to fix it, you should. Keep making it better. Keep getting more and more people to come on and hang out. Feel comfortable enough to chat. I'm not... How do I articulate this thought? How would an artificer articulate this thought? That's the question. How do you fix up your tinkering so that your stuff makes sense? That's the hard part. How do you tweak your tinkering so that it is functioning at peak tinkering efficiency? That's what you gotta figure out. Artificers are cool, y'all. There is a lot. We're having part of the discussion we had last week was that like an artificer is difficult to fit into your regular fantasy setting, and part of that is that the way that the game, at least 5e, was designed, you weren't supposed to be like there weren't supposed to be a lot of magic items. There wasn't supposed to be a lot of ways for you to tweak magic items, to make magic items. And the Artificer kind of gets in the way of that. So it fits better into a setting that is more technologically advanced. But also, Wizards could have worked to make them fit better into lower technological settings. They just said, oh, it's hard, and didn't. And I don't know if that was the right approach. Like, if you're going to release something, you should at least make it make sense in the majority of the places that it's going to show up in. So Archibald's Archive definitely helps with that. Especially with like botany that we looked up, we saw last time as one of the artificer specialists. Specialists are what the subclasses for artificer are called. That was dinner again. I hope that doesn't happen again. We looked at those. So today we're going to be looking at Artificer Infusions. And Artificer Infusions are a class-specific ability that artificers have, where essentially they get to build a prototype of some item that they're tinkering with, some ability that they should have. So if you come over to, you just look up the class listing for Artificer. At level 2, you get the ability to infuse an item, which they're describing as like, oh, this is a prototype of something that you would make, some effect that your artificer would want an item to have. And there is definitely a component of like, oh, these are recipes you can learn. This is something that you can, again, tinker with. You can tweak as you go. But you have a set number of items that you can be like, blah, 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 you can put your infusions on, and other people can use stuff with your infusions as well. So it's cool. That you can have a whole bunch of extra effects. And it's also a good way to say that the artificer is support. Like, oh, I need to build something to make sure that I can fill this niche that my party is missing. Because, listen, there's way more than one ways to be support. So yeah, you can do this. When you infuse an item, if it's like a mundane, non-magical item, it's normal. If the item has attunement, if the item requires attunement and you're adding on an infusion onto it, then you can automatically attune to it while you're adding the infusion to it, which is cool. I didn't realize that your infusions stay basically until you change them. Or even if you die, the infusion stays on for a little while after you've died. So it's more than just I've tinkered with this item. It is sort of intrinsically linked to you. So your tweaks on a magical scale won't stay even if you've made them, because these are like your prototypes. Hello! I don't know why I'm using that voice, but okay. I'll go with it.
It's okay, I don't know why I'm using this one. How are you?
Pretty good, and you?
Better than I thought I'd be tonight.
Yes! That's what I like to hear. This is a month of things are looking up, is what I'm hearing from everyone around me. And I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Let's keep this
really,
energy.
I feel like I have hit my stride for 2024, right in time for it to turn to 2025, but who cares?
Listen, I don't care how short this stride is. We're in it. We in it now.
Amen. I am missing my partner in crime tonight, though.
Oh. Yeah. I don't know if Dungeon Mommy is going to join, because I was having a conversation with her and she was responding like right away. So I don't think she's at work, but I don't know if she's going to join.
Hopefully she does. I haven't seen her in a long time.
I know. I'm like, oh yeah. But I did hear this. Maybe this will affect next year's things, but she did just tell me that she's going to try to come to New York again next year. So maybe we'll have one with 2 of us in the same room, or maybe even 3.
I was gonna say, is she not? I thought she was in New York.
No, she's in somewhere in the Midwest. I get her
Redacted.
and Rail confused anyway, so. Well.
Yep. Oh,
But yeah, I
it would
was like,
be
all
cool
right,
if she came to
cool.
hang out. Yeah. Well, that was like for so for our campaign,
Mm.
this week and next week, our artificer is actually going to be in the area. And he was like, we could do an in-person one. And I was like, yeah, but Okami,
Now I'm the odd
we
man out.
can't.
Listen,
Yeah.
listen. You could set it up like I have mine. As long as somebody has a camera, I don't care. I'll be the digital
No.
person. No, not the
No,
same.
no, we've done that before with not in my campaign, but actually in our artificer's old campaign. And because like his ex was like always in another state,
Mm.
and it was just like trying to take photos of like the map and like annotate it with like markup on the phone and then text the photos, and it was a hot mess. It's much better if we're all digital.
Oh
Like we're
man.
either all in person or we're all digital.
Wait, you didn't use video chat? You just sent pictures?
Well, no, we also did. Okay, so it was complicated. She couldn't be on the video part
Oh,
thing, like so we would be like it was rough.
dang.
It was a seamless experience.
Hmm. I will say that at some point in the future, one of my delving into your DM's topics is going to be where to draw the line if you have not all physical or not all digital players, because that can be a huge hassle.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was like, I don't want it to be a second rate experience for anybody on the
Mm.
team.
Yep, 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 yep,
Yeah,
yep.
if it was just a matter of me having to do like 50 things, but it was seamless for everyone else, I would be like, all right, let's do it. But like somebody's getting shorted.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't want to buy two
so
sets of props. That's where I drew my line. I'm not buying two sets of props.
that's why would you buy 2 sets of props?
Because I
Did
don't want
somebody
the
want you to
person.
like ship them the entire other like scenario?
Like I have some ideas where I want to reuse like what are they called? I think they're cataminos. It's like a puzzle board, and I was like, oh, I wanted my players to do one, but I was like, I feel bad for the one digital player, so maybe I'll get another set of cataminos, ship it to her, and then they can try to match what their boards look like and solve the puzzle
Nope.
together. Because I feel bad that she can't physically reach out and touch it. And then I was like, I'm not doing that. That's too much work. I
No,
bought enough minis to
oh God.
raid.
I was telling my bard last night about how much terrain and how many minis you own. And I was like, he could probably support himself purely on renting them out to other people. He has so many.
I was I have a pile in another room of pawns and standees that I've never even gone through. So I started filming, like going through them because I don't know if it's Paizo's fault, the guys who make Pathfinder, or whoever's fault, but all of the companies that make like books of minis don't show you what
Mhm.
the minis are. They only have a written list of the names of the minis. And I'm like, that's such a like most of the people who are playing, we don't necessarily use the mini for exactly what it says it is.
Oh yeah. No, that's like
That's
trying to
proxy.
find like VTTs, like icons. It's like you use it for whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, so I'm like, so I started just making videos a while back of like, oh, this is everything that's in this set. And I took apart one of the Pathfinder. Pathfinder does a really cool thing where whenever they release an adventure pass, which is like their version of a module, they release
Hmm.
a book of standees that is every major creature and NPC that exists, and you can just buy the Book of Standees and pop them out when you need them. And I'm like,
That could
why?
be.
Why wouldn't Wizards of the Coast do this? Like, why do we have to buy
Yeah.
our minis piecemeal or in blind boxes? Stop beating my wallet up.
Yeah, well, that's why, because some people will do that. It's such
Uh,
a like 1990s like pre-internet way of like doing stuff like we're gonna give you a list of things. It's like we have the internet now. You could take photos.
mm-hmm.
like like there was that lag before people realized it wasn't the same as a catalog.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like that's like still their mentality.
Silly. That's what that is. It's silly.
Yeah.
But you know what's not silly? Artificer Infusions. So right before you came on,
Oh
I just
yeah.
explained what Artificer Infusions are for people who have never
Cool.
played an Artificer.
Mhm.
But if you're in the chat on YouTube, you can follow along with us by clicking the link in the description. If you're in the chat on Twitch, I'm going to throw it in, and we learned a new trick last week. I can unpin this I can keep this pinned until the end of the stream. So that's what I'm going to do, because we're going to be in Archibald's archive for the foreseeable
All night.
future. Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. And we left off on Artificer Infusions, so I'm just gonna go on from here. Did you get this far?
I started reading this. I do not remember how far I got through it, so it'll be an adventure.
I'm sure that we'll have lots to talk about when we get to the races next. That's the part I'm excited to hear
Wait,
everyone's
there's
opinions
races in
on.
here?
Yeah. And
Oh.
some of them are small. Not tiny, but small.
Oh my god, what is it with the tiny races thing?
I don't know. I feel like it's because, well, no, when this came out, they hadn't made everyone medium yet. So I'm not sure. I was going to say, I feel like it's because they keep phasing out anything smaller than medium. But no, this came out before that. I'm just putting in some timestamps. I know there's a way to do this with the Stream Deck now, but I haven't figured it out yet. Oh, no, I could do it on Twitch. I can't do it on YouTube, which is not helpful to me. But first one is an encyclopedia of the mundane. And
I
basically
love this. I did read this.
you infuse your book, and the holder of the book gets a +10 to history, arcana, and nature checks to ask for common knowledge. At first I was like, +10 is a huge amount, but this is for stuff that either your players should know from being in the campaign or should know because it's like an integral part of the world. So it's basically useless information to them, like combat wise or getting a
Yeah,
one up
this
on
isn't.
some NPC.
Yeah, this isn't going to give you the secret password to the ancient, gate. This is like, where's this town?
I'm like, that's the stuff you need, because I forgot where I shared it. I shared it in the Okami Kure Discord, where this DM was like, I don't understand. You guys have, can you just please do, can you just go? You've all tried to seduce a fish today and you've all failed. Can we just leave this town? Sometimes you just need an easy way to be like, this is the path, now leave. New infusion. What is your artificer? Actually, that sounds like an artificer name.
What?
Ewaz, I'm gonna say Qilin, like as if it's Chinese. But that could be an artificer name. Just put professor in front of it and you're done.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I like this.
Yeah,
The
I thought the same thing with the bump. I was like, what? And it's like common knowledge. I'm like, oh, this is to make it so you're not like constantly, or the DM doesn't have to do all the talking.
mhm. The best part is though, when you read it, it says you're supposed to do it in an annoyed voice, like they're mad that you've asked them for this stupid information. And I'm like, yes, mask the DM's annoyance. It's the book, it's not me.
Your the encyclopedia really wanted to be of like you know, our obscure and arcane information, but no. It's basically fantasy Yellow Pages.
Yeah! I like it. A lot of these, since they're Artificer Infusions, I did put them in my repository under like Artificer special things. But if they are items, which there will also be later on some items, remember they don't go in the repository. Oh, yes! I got a star.
You got a star?
Yeah, because apparently they meant it like Chinese, like a qilin. And I was like, I mean, it's a cool animal. If it's a fantasy animal, I think at least someone in DM Roundtable will pronounce it correctly. Our accent might be bad, but we'll get the pronunciation right.
We've got a decent range on our languages skills.
And we all like mythology in some regard.
Yeah, I stay here literally under my computer right now is a Greek textbook.
Wait, what are you? Are you making a labyrinth? A warlock patron?
No, this is not that. While that would be amazing, I've actually had this Greek textbook for over a year.
Oh.
No, I just nah, it's it is, let me put it this way, it's too nerdy for this channel for me to get into why I'm studying Greek. Yeah. It's all right. We can move on.
All right. Next item is the Ring of Skill. I'm pretty sure that if you make a ring, like if you infuse a Ring of Skill, the ring has to be worth at least 50 gold. I think it's one of the only things on here that you need something worth money. So it's got to be a nice ring. But when you use the infusion, you choose one skill. Whoever's wearing the ring has proficiency with that skill as long as they're wearing it. If they take it off, they lose that proficiency. So like, as far as my team's preparing to go do something, this is the perfect item. Your team will fight over rings of skill.
You know what the immediate first thing I thought of this for.
No. I'm scared.
No. This is actually something really standard. This is the Ring of Stealth that you give your paladin in heavy armor.
Oh, yes. Yep.
If you have a smart party, this is what you use this for. Here, so we have half a chance of ever sneaking ever again.
You're 100% correct. I was watching a was it I think it was. I was watching some VOD of some other person's game. So it said Kieran Celestials could be a patron. Agreed, 100%. I was watching somebody's campaign VOD a while back, and the people in the comments were like, why are these players talking like any of these like non-gods could be a patron? That's not how it works. And I was like, well, you're wrong. Anything with power that can give it to someone else could be your patron.
Yeah. I mean, the labyrinth is like the coolest thing I've ever heard of.
It's so good. Like we have to make labyrinth patron warlocks. We cannot not.
No, that is absolutely a thing that is going to happen.
I need my labyrinth patron warlocks with commoner backgrounds, of course. Everyone's got to have a commoner background. And at some point, I got to make, way before I started SuppleMENTAls or DM Roundtable, one of the first homebrews that I found that I was like, I love this, was Hemomancy Sorcerer. I was like, I need it. I need it.
Now, Hemomancy, like bloodbending?
Yeah.
Or like, okay. I figured that's the direction you were going, but there are other blood-based magic systems out there.
Like blah, 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 blah. I know Sanderson has one of the Mistborns is blood specialty.
Hemallurgy. Yep.
There we go. and Shades of Magic, the most powerful mage. Well, I guess they're technically not called mages, but there's like a special subclass of magic users where it's in their blood, so they can travel the 4 universes. There's like 4 universes that are all overlaid on top of one another, but at different wavelengths. So the people who have magic in their blood can go between them. I really like Shades of Magic. It's cool.
Is there a unique magic system you've ever come across that you didn't really like?
Oh, the only one I can think of, I don't know if it's a full magic system, but there is I think it's a YA book called The Storm Thief, and the only kind of magic in the world is the magic caught in paintings. And like you can get sucked into a painting, but nobody understands how it works. And I'm like, there's so many cool things here. And you just have, there's like 2 paintings in the world that have magic in them. And you won't know that they have magic in them until you get sucked into one of them.
That's so lazy.
It's like, what? I want to do this. Because, like, if you've ever played any of the Soulsborne games, almost all of them, except for Elden Ring, have some notion where, like, there's a demi-plane that you can create if you open a portal to it by painting it. And, like, it's its own little city type thing. And I'm like, you could have done that. Mm-hmm. There could have just been people who paint stuff, and you go into their worlds. But no, there's just, like, 2 paintings in this one world that have magic. And
there's so many, like, stories that have done that in a cool way. I have seen that implemented in D&D, actually. Like, there was a real play podcast that I listened to, and I feel bad because I do not remember which one it was, but they did like a living paintings kind of thing where like you got sucked in and then you got attacked by the things in the paintings and like had to like fight your way out. It was pretty cool.
Even while it's not a painting, Candlekeep Mysteries, one of the books in Candlekeep has a demi-plane in it that they, like this adventuring party put one of their people in because he got infected and they didn't want him to infect anyone else. And he like couldn't control himself anymore. But it's like a fairy tale book. So all the things in the book are in the demi-plane that he's in, but they're all constructs. So like he can't infect any of them because they're not alive.
Nice.
I'm like, oh, that's cool.
That's a good way. Although the idea of infected fairy tale characters running rampant is also extremely appealing.
That's a good point. Stupid, like wizard scrolls in general, so difficult to get your players to understand, especially if you're using rules as written for them, where they're like, oh yeah, I'm just going to ask this wizard in town to make me a scroll. And I'm like, it's not going to take a day. Do you like rules as written? This is going to take months if you want a high level spell, and it's expensive because you're using magic ink.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, just write it down. I'm like, I mean, he could write it down, but it's either not going to make sense to you or it's not going to do anything. Yeah. You'll be like, huh? You gave me paper. I sure did.
Yeah. There's everything you need to do it yourself. Yeah. Yeah, the rules, I feel like some of the rules in 5e felt like they were copy-pasted from like earlier, harder editions. Where like nobody, I know Shin would have something to say about this because he's actually read the rules for the older ones, but like nobody checked and was like, hey, in this version, like you regain all your hit points overnight, so like maybe don't make this take 6 months.
Like they played. I don't know if it was BX or Redbox or something, and they could only get like 5 health back after they take their long nap, and I was like, damn. And so the way they had it going, they were all playing like 4 different characters because one of them would have to nap for days before he could actually go out adventuring again without dying.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's basically a
Wow.
funnel for like Troika and the rest of the games where your first session, your
Yeah.
session 0 is like, I'm going to make 10 characters. Maybe one of them will live,
Yep.
and that's who I'll play. And I love that they're called funnels because
I'm
you
gonna create an entire family and just take the survivor on an
yeah,
adventure.
I love it. I love that they're called funnels.
It's terrible. Like I get it, and I think that gives you a better sense for which 5e does not do. I will admit they do not do this. Like it's the same way as we've talked about how like nobody is used to like townspeople having like 3 HP.
Oh,
It's like the sense that adventurers are a special cut of person is really lost in 5e because you start out already having a lot of those traits. You are already a cut above, even if you're only level 1. And something like Troika or something where you have to create an entire village. Just take whoever's left at the end of session 0 and that's your character. Gives you more of that sense of like, wow, most people can in this world can hack a camping trip.
mm-hmm.
You know, because they're gonna get eaten by a goblin. So like I think that does give you a better sense of accomplishment maybe with your eventual character.
Like, oh, this guy
But
actually survived. I know they survived.
yeah. Yeah,
I
like
can see
if you
that.
come out of it feeling like you need a I survived this adventure shirt, like that's something that I feel like you don't get easily in 5e.
mm. It is incredibly difficult to kill your party if you're not intending to kill your party.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
We're
I
not
have
that
not
bad of people,
successfully
we assure you.
I have not, and I am not the bloodthirsty one at this round table. I have yet to even drop a player in anything. Most of the fights have not even gone more than 2 rounds, and I was afraid people were going to die. So it's yeah, that is a testament to how difficult it is to actually kill a party in 5e.
The one time I really was shooting to kill, I didn't expect. One of the members of the DM Roundtable plays in my campaign. I play in one of his campaigns, but he's playing. DM Bacon was in my campaign. I like forgot that he's incredibly competent because, as most of you know, like the people at my table, they don't pay attention 99.9% of the time.
Most of them are not.
Yeah. I forgot that he was incredibly confident. So I've started to lead my players into showing the difference between like verbal, somatic, and somatic components for their spells so that they'll be able to know when to counterspell, which is sound or sight. And we have a spell that we brought in from it's a redo of a magic card called Convolute, and it works on verbal components. So I'm now like acting out, oh, this guy is casting a spell by saying an incantation, or he's doing something with his hands. And I 100% forgot how confident DM Bacon was, and I was about to obliterate one of my players with a lightning bolt. And he was like, I cast darkness, which I can see through. And he just made it so that my triggered action would never happen because this guy was waiting to see somebody. I was like, you.
Wow. Not even counterspell or something, just like knowing what that did and knowing that that would counter it. That's hats off to Dan Bacon.
Like, ah, you.
I have to say, the best and worst choice I ever made in this campaign was in session 0 bestowing the Ring of the Chromeleon on our most technically minded player.
Oh,
Who has not used it against me, but has absolutely every single time. So the Ring of the Chromeleon, for anyone who doesn't know, because it is a homebrew thing, I believe, is a ring where it lets you change one letter, well, one character, because you can also mess with spaces and stuff, in a spell's name to change its meaning, and then you work with the DM to determine what it actually does. And like the example that they give is like cause fear can become cause bear, which, you know, you're like, okay, I know what to expect here. The very first time he used it, he turned Featherfall into Featherall to semi-permanently shapeshift a person into a chicken.
Those were good times.
I was just like, you're gonna do what now? Because it was a hostage that was like plot relevant. And he was like, yep, he's a chicken now. I mean, you could decide how long he's a chicken for, but I want to make him a chicken. And I was like, yep, that is definitely something that you can do, apparently. All right, let's see how long he's going to be a chicken.
That's amazing. It was said, I curse you with magic dyslexia. Okay, so in Marvel Comics, it wasn't Loki, but they were fighting some magic user. And Amadeus Cho, who's like fourth smartest person in the Marvel universe, whatever, we don't care about that. He took one of Ant-Man's old helmets and he rewired it so that if he put it on someone's head, it would mess with their brain so they couldn't get their words out right. And this spellcaster guy can't cast spells anymore because none of his incantations are coming out properly. And one of my, like, I remember this panel clear as day. He's got like 3 superheroes are on him. He's got the helmet on top of his head, and what he screams is, petulant table! And his hands are just like waving. He's flailing wildly, trying to get these spells to come out, but it's just random words.
Oh,
I'm like, oh, I want to do that to someone. Yes. Magic dyslexia. Yes. If you have dyslexia, though, and it's magic, you're not going to be able to pronounce the Lexographicum, though. There's so many words. This one, you don't need a fancy book, but you do have to be level 6. And you put the infusion on this, and whatever skill proficiencies you have, the next person who has the book gets all those proficiencies. So you could potentially really put like your 2 best players in your group together to form someone who's real good at stuff. It doesn't record expertise though, which I thought was an interesting choice. But I guess that makes sense to keep it sort of fair.
Not broken. Yeah.
Yeah. It only lasts for an hour, but still, like, an hour of roleplay time is a lot of time.
Huh. That is really cool. I feel like that's built for like being in like a labyrinth or something, and like one of your players needs to like carry the team for some reason. Like the other ones have gotten hit with like confusion or something.
Yes. Ray of enfeeblement.
But like, yeah, something like that, but like they can activate this and then kind of carry the party for a bit.
I have in my notes, like, you could even turn this into a cursed item, per se. Like, some characters addicted to being good at everything, and they will do whatever they can to make sure that they stay that way. Or you could use it as a blackmail tool. Like, you need another hit of being proficient at everything. You do my bidding, I'll help you out.
Wow. Or if you were going to make it a cursed item, I would say that in order to use it, like in order to like charge it, basically, you had to make some level of sacrifice of somebody who had that proficiency.
Hmm.
You know, you could like do something like a lock of their hair, some of their blood,
Ooh.
like all the way up through, actually murdering them. And the level like of what you take from them determines how long you get the proficiency.
You went. I went in a different direction. I was like, let me make this Pathfindery. You have to suck a point of Constitution out of someone permanently to put their proficiencies in the book. I
Yep.
listen. I hate math, and therefore I'm just against most of the Pathfinder stuff. There's so much stuff in Pathfinder that's like, I punch you in the face. Now you've lost strength score, and I'm like, what? No. Or like I pull out your teeth. Now you've lost dexterity. I'm like, what? No, stop. Stop. I don't want to die this way. Please not this way. It's so
Wait, why did teeth being pulled out lose your
I
dexterity?
don't know. I hate some of the stuff in Pathfinder, man. Stop making me do math, man. Not like
Oh.
this. This isn't why I want to go out. But this next
Yeah, I
one.
don't want to have to do like 2 lines of math to figure out I just died.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, just tell me.
And Pathfinder 2 is like, hey, if any of your ability scores ever drop to 0, you die. I'm like, why did you suck out my ability scores? Why?
Yeah.
Why are you this mean? Who told you to do this?
Is it something that like I know it goes down easily in Pathfinder, or is it easy to regain? Or does it only go down?
I don't. Sometimes it'll say this stays down until you take a long rest. But I've seen plenty of them that are like, oh no, your strength score is now permanently lower. I don't know. I've never seen how you raise them though, now that I think about it. I didn't go deep
That's
enough.
what worries me. Yeah.
Like, oh, I
Huh.
built my fighter and now my strength score is 2 because you guys ate it all. Damn you.
Wow. Yeah, I'm glad that's something that's pretty rare in 5e because that's scary. But I guess it's also because the numbers are a lot smaller.
Yeah, that too. Ooh, monk
Like,
maidens
you
are
only got
cool.
1 through 20, so if
Yeah, I'm not, I ain't
that's
doing it.
scary.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
The next item though, this is Jack Sparrow. This one's for you. This is the compass that we
Yeah.
legitimately had a talk about how someone has to have made this compass, and
Yep.
here it is.
It's the most D&D item you can think of, you know?
Yeah. If you need a MacGuffin, it's the compass.
Yeah. Oh, but it's less specific than Jack Sparrow's compass.
Mm.
Oh, a tiny mechanical analog display shows the distance of the object from you.
I love that it says 999. It just stops at
Yeah.
999. It's cute.
Adjust the direction as long as you're concentrating on it. If it's hidden by magic or located on a different plane, the compass needle spins in circles. Uh, okay. The, it's a more useful version of the goggles that I gave our artificer.
Ah, mm-hmm. I mean, yours are more fun because you got to figure out how you can use them.
Yeah.
This one though, like you could make this your you can make this a plot hook or your entire campaign hook. Like one character in town, some magistrate or whatever has this compass and tells you what to think of.
Hmm.
That's cool. Or your artificer can just be like an old person who keeps artificer keeps forgetting stuff and the compass tells them like the direction of the stuff that they're supposed to be looking for, because they know like I'm looking for this thing, and the compass knows, but they don't.
That's great.
Ooh, I like that too. A map that fills
Yep.
itself out. Magic map is good.
A magic map's awesome.
We come to the weapon of elements. So I have in my campaign bottled blades. I forgot what source book they're from or something, but it's basically like a, a globule of some colored liquid, and when you pull out the stopper, it makes a weapon of the shape that you are proficient with, that you want it to, but it's made out of the element, so you swing it and it does the damage of that element. This is just, you just turn any weapon, you make a decision, like I want this to have some elemental damage type. I put it on the weapon, which could be super cool for your party to be like, yo, we're going to fight these guys, they're weak to such and such. You change your blades and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
They keep coming up with this like, oh, you get an extra bonus to them based on your modifier. This one is cool because the bonus is on the roll, not the damage.
Yeah.
A lot of them is, oh, you get the bonus on the damage, and then you have to figure out, like we had to figure out for the crossbow, how do you make that work? Like, oh, you've suddenly figured out how to tighten your mechanism so that it pushes the string with more force. But then why would you forget what you just did?
Yeah. Definitely.
But this is cool if your team is actually preparing for stuff. If you have a team like my players, this is not going to help them. In our last big combat, which was, I was about to say televised, that's not the word, was, I guess technically you could use it there. It was prompted. They knew this battle was coming up. They made a group decision. We're going to fight this big battle. Everyone prepare for battle. And then our paladin, one of our paladins, Scrimbo, he naturally didn't prepare his spells. And so he was not present physically for some of the fight, so other players were running him, and they were like, why doesn't he have a combat spell? Why does he have support spells today? And not helpful support spells. I was like, I can't help you with that. I'm not making his character do things for him. That's on him. That's his job. But in normal parties, this could be super helpful. And if you're in like a super low fantasy setting, this is good because it finally gives you a way to deal magical damage if nobody else has magic items by then. Though someone in your party should probably have a magical item after level 5. Like if you're in second tier, somebody should have a magical item.
Yeah.
Especially in new rules. In new rules, I think all of your party should be maxed out on attunement slots before you get to level 5. I have not gotten a chance to read the new Starjammer book. I just hate how they changed how the phlogiston works. I like the old one. Like you could just literally sail into space. But also space was extremely flammable. And I think that's hilarious.
I guess they took the ether idea to an extreme.
And there's gifts and loxodons in space. Amazing. Gifts are the hippo people, and loxodons are the elephant people. Though technically there are also there are Lox-O's in the Forgotten Realms because their spaceship crashed. They're actually bigger than loxodons. They're like the pre-evolution of loxodons.
Huh.
And I was like, but if they're the pre-evolution, how'd they fly a spaceship? That's not how that works. Huh? That's true. As a DM, you can, in fact, do whatever you want. Like, you can add the earmuffs of indifference to your game, which I hate. because
Earmuffs.
it's the last infusion. You need earmuffs or a helmet that you attune to, and when you're wearing them and you're targeted by a spell that has a vocal component that requires you to make a save, you automatically succeed on the saving throw. That's not how spells work. The person casting it, if they weren't making noise, this is warping reality around you so that other people can't cast spells if you're wearing earmuffs.
Huh.
This one I don't like. This is in reverse, sort of.
That sounds awful.
It's the only one I was like, nah, that's not right. That's point. We're partial to oozlings here.
Oozling.
And puddings. Tiny guys that can separate themselves. Oh, so good. And also, where am I? Where are you? Angry raccoons. And we're also partial to whisper devils here.
Oh yeah.
Ah,
And great witnesses.
ah. I gotta make an image of a gray witness and make him like float across the screen. I'm pretty sure I can figure out how to do
Oh
that.
yes.
Just kind
Yes.
of like float on by when someone's about to die. Amazing.
Oh yeah.
Amazing. But that actually takes us out of infusions. And now we're on to ingenious races, which is sort of confusing the way that he's going to talk about his new races, because you see that they're called Verminkind at the start here. But
Mm-hmm.
he's just going to stop using Verminkind at some point, but not explain until you get to the second one that there's two different kinds of rodent. And you're just like,
Very cool.
why'd you give them a new name? And then you're like, oh, because they're different races or species, whatever you want to call them. We usually say races because that's what they've been for years and years and years and years. But I know now they're going with species. And if you're in Pathfinder, they're lineages. Though none of that really matters. I'm going to switch the music over though because we're going to talk about some rats and some mice, but mostly rats. What do we got? We got. Okay, I got it. Bloop. It gets a little sadder later, which is fine. Basically, technically they're not artificers, but they're mechanically inclined, and that's how he threw them in. The race after this, not so much, but these guys are mechanically inclined. They build like huge colonies underground, as rats be doing. But the weird thing is they have no god, and I think that's a very interesting way to throw a new race in, to say that they have no god, like no progenitor. They don't worship things. Because in my campaign at the beginning, we had this conversation like a couple sessions in where my players were like, I can't understand how someone who exists in the Forgotten Realms would be an atheist because the gods like come down sometimes.
Yeah.
You could physically.
Well, they talk about that in Discworld.
You could physically reach out and touch an avatar. I'm not saying everyone has this opportunity, but it is an opportunity that exists.
Right. No one's questioning it.
Yeah. And yet some people are still like, nah, I don't believe in that.
Well, I guess there is room for that. Like it says here, like in a society, in a world really where you have gods, but they are very specifically siloed. Like then, if you've got like the god that created dwarves and the god that created elves and the god that created this one and that one, you could just have a race that didn't or doesn't acknowledge them.
Agreed. Because gods don't care about more. Gods may take an interest in mortals, but like they have godly business to attend to.
Yeah.
That's a very difficult thing my players have been trying to understand. Like the people who are higher than them on the food chain, power wise and what have you, like, oh, why would they do these things that inconvenience us folk? I'm like, why do you think they care about you? That's just the way it is. But yeah, you got lots of rats. They show actual. I think it's because it must be hard to find it must not be that hard to find an anthropomorphic rodent, but within whatever, I'm assuming a lot of this is Magic Gathering art. There's definitely anthropomorphic rats. It's weird that they chose for this to show rats, like just regular rats. But basically, they all want to be king. There's only going to be one king. All the leaders of the groups are like, hey, I'm just the best at what I do.
I think it's interesting that they tie, like, stability, like social structure, political hierarchy in with, like, there being a god of their species or not. Like, that's not necessarily a connection I would draw, but I guess with the rest of their thing, it goes together.
I guess trying to go for the idea that because there's no god, like, someone has to be better. But I guess if you have extreme pride in your work mechanically, you would want to feel like yours is better than other people's. I guess I can sort of understand that.
Yeah.
And Awaz, we've talked about this before. He said, why are the Norse guards there? Like, Tyr's there, but that means so is Loki. So, weirdly enough, there is a clause in the cosmology for this. Tyr's in the Forgotten Realms, but he's the only Norse god worshipped because he got worshippers here. Like, he came over and he built a portfolio. So the other Norse gods they've never come to Forgotten Realms or the other places around. Like, they've never been in Abir or Toril besides Tyr. And so if you happen to come from a different universe, like one that worshipped Loki, and you ended up in the Forgotten Realms, if you prayed to Loki, Tyr would hear your prayer because he's from the same pantheon, and your powers would come through him, even though they were for Loki. Which is a really weird thing to think about because, like, Tyr's not.
Also, I think Tyr would have a problem with that.
Right? Like, you would think he would be mad.
Yeah. I don't think that goes with his personality.
It is a very weird thing to have been brought up in the lore. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just basically based on the idea that, like, you're a god because you're being worshipped. Like, that's what fuels you, gives you power. So if you never got someone to worship you here, you have no power, so you don't want to hang out there.
Yeah.
Are you too cool for certain planes then? I'm sure there are plenty of gods that are like that. No, I'm not going.
Yeah, definitely. Oh. No, I'm not going there.
So, Verminkind have traits. If you're playing 2024 rules, it's not your race or your species that gives you your traits. You just pick randomly, or it comes from your background, and your backgrounds in 2024 rules basically help you make your character without a background relating to whatever class you want to be. You're out of luck. But back in the day, you got your ability score increases from your race and also your sub-race. So this one only has the +2, so your intelligence score increases by 2 because all the Verminkind are smart. And then their sub-races will determine what their +1 is. They reach maturity by 6, and they live about 40 years, but they might have more human lifespans if they didn't live in squalor. which I like as an added addendum. If it wasn't so disgusting, maybe they'd live.
Alignment. I love how it's like, well, they're chaotic, but the rest of the alignment depends mostly on the hive. I feel like these guys sound pretty neutral to me.
Yeah, I don't. And because you're worried about like building mechanical things, like you gotta build your den and stuff. I feel like that's more neutral. Like you're not building like a room full of traps. You're not building a room like a healing room. It's like you're mining these caves and burrowing through the walls so that everyone can get where they need to go.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily all about you. But they have Skitter Scatter, which definitely sounds like how they would have written the trait in Warhammer. I'm sure somewhere there's a Skaven supplement, which is the Rat Folk in Warhammer, that says Skitter Scatter. I'm sure that's where it came from.
I feel like they should have had an improved dark vision.
I agree with you 100%. I definitely think they should have had that. And I feel like it's cool that they have tunneling, but this tunneling is super slow. They should have just given them a burrow speed. It didn't have to be full burrow speed, but because this is saying they can only move 1 foot every 6 seconds. That's
right, but 1
incredibly
foot
slow.
of a tunnel big enough for a medium-sized creature.
Can you even
Like
I'm just
that's
thinking.
a lot. That's a lot of dirt to move in 6 seconds.
I'm just thinking, even if you burrowed it straight down and it's only 1 foot deep, I'm just imagining someone trying to sit in it and like curl up into a ball to hide. They're just
It's true,
sticking
like,
out.
yeah, it's not very useful when like a stride is 5 feet.
But I guess it could be useful. It would take you a while, but you could do it. It's probably also why
Yeah.
they die so easily.
Languages are normal.
And they speak the
And it
language
goes
the settlement's
sub-races.
closest to. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But now you have your sub races they hadn't mentioned before. They just started talking about rat folk. This is like the last supplement where they explained things after they told you about them. Like, come. I know not everyone has like a professional editor on hand, but a lot of the supplements that we've looked through, sometimes they arrange stuff really weird. Like you should give the big breakdown, the macro, before you give the micro. Just in general. But you have rat folk, who are the ones that hit things physically, as compared to mousekin. We'll get into mousekin later. But the rat folk are a little bit bigger. They're medium, 30 feet walking speed. They have advantage on saving throws against poison and disease. And you have resistance to poison damage, which is nice. The rat folk get superior dark vision. See, that's an anthropomorphic. Well, it's an anthropomorphic mouse, but I'm sure that there were so many of them. There was definitely art. You didn't need to show actual rats. Though I'm sure there are probably regular rats that hang out in the hive. What?
The
What?
drawing is like weirdly steampunk.
Yeah. This is a thing we have to talk about all the time. And I just mentioned it because I finally got to watch the first Obojima campaign setting podcast. And the writers that they hired to help work on the book were explaining to one of the co-founders of 1985 Games that like if all your needs are met, you have no reason to become an adventurer because it is an inherently hazardous and dangerous job. You're probably going to die. If you're having a good time at home, there's no reason for you to become an adventurer. So these are all reasons for you to go on your adventure and wind up in a tavern and meet the other players of your campaign.
Yeah. That is like the worst part, is trying to figure out how everyone meets.
It's so hard sometimes. It's so hard to not want to be cliche.
Yeah.
Then we have Mousekin. Yeah, we're hitting on the allegations are not going to stop for me, which is annoying.
What do you mean?
He was like, furry checklist? Check! Damn it! Just because I like werewolves doesn't mean I want to bang one. But mousefolk get their dex increased by 1. Their size is small. They're a bit smaller, and they have 25-foot walking speed. But if you want to be nice, even the pre-1 D&D basically upped everyone to 30 feet. You can do that if you want to, but honestly, I think having a difference in your characters makes your campaign unique. I like having that.
Yeah.
And instead of ratfolk resilience, they get nimble escape, so they're goblins. They can disengage or hide as a bonus action. And innate magic, all of them know 1 cantrip. And this is one of the only times I've ever seen it say, you know, 1 cantrip of your choice from the wizard spell list in school 1 or school 2. Like, it's always an A or B. This is any wizard cantrip.
That's pretty great.
Which is sick.
I like the species that have races, whatever, that have innate magic. I think it's just a fun little thing to have. It causes me problems in our campaign, but it's a nice thing to have.
And again, these are reasons why you might leave. But yeah, sorry, I cut you off. What were you going to say?
No, it's fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all good. Pillaged by invading humanoids. Talent for arcane magic.
That's the only reason you'd leave if all your needs were met. Like, I need to go challenge myself. Or, like, I depending on your race, you might be like, I have to go spend daddy or mommy's money.
I like you have responsibilities in your village that you would rather leave behind. So you did.
I'm pretty smart. Okay, now we're going to get to a race that
do this. Bye.
I love, but also hate. I love the idea of this. I hate that their psionic have no psionic powers. It makes me so mad. But these are the Chromeleons. They're
oh, that's great.
They're lizard folk, except they're obviously chameleon lizard folk. And I think that this race is kind of an analog to the Verdant, where the Verdant are supposed to be, the Verdants are like goblin size. They're warped by chaos magic, and then they basically go through magical puberty at level 3 mechanically. And they get real tall and they start mutating and getting all these weird powers. Chromeleon is sort of that same idea, except the dream is what they go have. They basically only go to sleep once in their life, and that sleep may not end for months or years. But
wow,
they get this idea like, oh, the dream's calling to me, I need to go. They go take their nap, And I think that's a cool
That is
idea.
such a cool idea.
Like, so cool. And like, there's when they do dream, they basically make a psychic cocoon that they're inside of. They pull like everything around them so that it makes a barrier so that no one can touch them. And if you mess up, if your dream does get messed up, like you're awoken before you're supposed to have awoken, you're wrecked. Your body and your mind start deteriorating rapidly. So like that's a cool idea. If you're not going to say like, "Oh, it's going to be a century before this character wakes up." I would be so mad. I would be so mad if my DM was like, you have to take a century long nap, make a new character." I'd be like, "I'll kill you."
Roll a D100, see how long you nap. Oh, this is really cool.
Like the idea is so cool. And they have the same what is it? Fey trance, I think is what the elves have, where normally they just meditate when they take their long rest and they don't need the full 8 hours. But psychic lizard. I just wish it was more psychic.
Yeah.
But basically when you're in your dream either shows you something that's happened, something that's currently happening or will happen that is important and in some way related to you. So sometimes people see in their dream like one of their family members and an epic journey that they're going to go on. So they have to like seek out that family member when they leave the dream. And because you've been asleep for potentially a really long time, maybe you missed it. Maybe you watched it in real time and didn't know that's what was happening.
Oh no.
And as long as you don't complete your dream, you're functionally immortal. Until you can complete whatever happened in there, your body like keeps reknitting itself.
Wow. That is so cool.
And then they add, if when your body does die, wherever your body died, a flower spawns. And this is the only way this specific flower spawns or blooms. So you can turn that into a whole like quest objective. Like I gotta find my family's flowers, or we need one of these to make this potion.
Mm-hmm.
Do they do the tongue thing? It doesn't have a tongue action, which is dumb. And they don't have a normal, we'll say, psychic power, which I can't understand this. MCDM's I think it's Flea Mortals had a Gem Dragonborn before Gem Dragonborn officially released, and he made all the gem dragons have psionic powers, and they have their own like weird little table within MCDM's rules where like, oh, you use this many psionic charges to use this ability, which sort of like mimics a spell, but it can also do other things to you. And the way that they wrote the Gem Dragonborn, you only get 4 charges for the entirety of the campaign. You never get any more. And the vast majority of the stuff that you have access to takes 3 or 4 charges to use. So you can just do one psychic thing until you nap. And I'm like, but why? I'm a psychic. Let me do psychic shit.
Yeah.
I also like this idea. Awaz had mentioned Tabaxi, and one of the cool things about Tabaxi is that they change their names based on things that they do. Chromeleons have no name. They just decide this either sounds really cool, this is something that I'm doing, or like, oh, somebody needs to give me a name, and I saw a blade of grass, so my name is Blade of Grass. And they change it whenever they want. And I'm like, you could have so much fun in a campaign constantly changing your name so that no one knows who you are.
No one can ever find you. That's what I've been doing.
So good. It's so good.
Yeah, this is weird. Also that they don't have much, like, their entire thing is seeing the future, but you don't even get to cast augury until 5th level.
Mm-hmm. The
That's weird.
only weird sort of future thing they have is if you have proficiency. No, you have proficiency in insight and perception. And once per day, when you make a skill check using a skill you're not proficient with, you can add a bonus to the roll equal to your proficiency bonus. And like, as if you've somehow seen that this was going to happen before. I'm like, give me cooler psychic powers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works. My name is Catman Struthers. I'm a Catman, and I'm from Struthers of the Southlands. It works. I'm just so disappointed that they don't have any real psychic powers. I want to give them
I
something
love
else.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. They should have something else. Can we just talk about how under the reason for adventuring, number 4 they make sound terrible, yet it's like how everyone functions.
that's just how life works.
Your dream's been interrupted. You don't know what life has in store for you. Oh, and I think that would be so much fun to play as a character, like as a PC. Be like constantly griping about like my my dream is interrupted. I don't know my destiny. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know who I'm supposed to be marrying. I don't know, like, I don't know my life. And everyone else is just sitting around like, yeah, cool story, bro.
all the non Chromeleons in your party are like, so you're alive.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Uh,
Okay. I love all of these options. I
yeah, so do I.
I think all of these are good. I'm going out adventuring. And again, normal people don't go out adventuring. Uh, divination? Yeah? Divination is precogs? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Lizard wizard. Love it.
I just saw a meme the other day that was like everyone thinks divination wizards are just slaves to fate. What if you make a divination wizard that's not a slave to fate? They actively go out and create it. And you just see a person holding a Molotov cocktail and they're outside of a church and someone goes, "Oh no. Is something bad going to happen?" And the wizard just looks at them and goes, "Oh yeah, it's about to catch fire." But now
The
we
best way
have
to predict the future is to create it.
Ah, that's one of my favorite video game quotes ever. Strider hear you.
That's a video game quote that's from the X-Files.
It's also in Strider definitely ripped it off. Or I guess some variation, because one of his win quotes in Marvel vs. Capcom is, "Who can see the future? Those who create it."
Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely ripped off.
That's so funny. This random ninja guy, somebody who was doing localization, was watching the X Files and gave it to this future ninja. Oh, it's amazing. That's amazing. I love this.
X-Files probably ripped it off from somewhere too.
But now we come down to feats.
Mm.
Um, I love Artificer Student because this implies that you're learning stuff. You didn't just get it, which, as many of you know, my players have extreme problems with.
Well, this is like Magic Initiate, but for Artificers.
Yep. And that's
Solid.
fine. Whatever. Nothing special. Lobber, however, I have lots of notes on because I love the idea of this. You can now throw things as a bonus action. And
Really
you have
well.
proficiency. You just throw everything. Because it's supposed to be like, oh, you're throwing your potions as an artificer. You're throwing your reagents.
Oh,
and stuff.
no.
But for me, I'm just like, oh, no. Everything. I'm now the ninja from Final Fantasy Tactics. So in Final Fantasy Tactics, the ninja class, their special ability is literally called throw. And any item in your inventory, you can throw at people. So, listen, all of us playing RPGs, we're saving all those items. But a lot of us also save garbage. And if you made a ninja, your garbage was now your weapon.
That's great.
This is all I thought about. I was like, oh, I'm throwing all my trash at all of my opponents.
I'm thinking this would be so much funnier to do with like specific classes of items. I would even do this as like a weird curse or a weird boon. And it's like you're really, really good at throwing one weirdly specific class of thing. Like you're really good at throwing small animals. Like you're really good at throwing potted plants. Like just something so weirdly specific.
Wait, do I have? Oh no, I don't have. I wrote down. You know, it would be great. This helps you. Like it makes you want to go to the store and buy out every shop's inventory of all the weapons, like all the base weapons, and you just throw them at people.
Yeah.
I like that. I also love that you can store them in your belts. Like in my campaign, we use leather straps. So you can have, not only do you have a belt, but you get two that go across your chest. You can have two on each limb. So like one of our players is just covered in knives. She has so many knives. All of those slots are filled with knives.
Yeah.
Herbalist.
Player after my own heart.
We don't have Shin here to tell us about Herbalist, which he would absolutely love. Dude loves all of this. But you get to learn potions and poison recipes, which we will get into soon. There's entire supplements within supplements in Archibald's archive, which is great. But
we should just like leave a space here, and you should like record Shin talking about Herbalist later and splice it into the video.
I could do that. Chosen recipes have to be of the rarity common. We'll get into that a little later. There's all different levels. Combat medic, though.
Yeah.
This changes the game.
Whoa. Okay, so the first part you're like, yeah, that's fine. Apply a potion to another willing creature. Okay. But wow. You're within 5 feet of an allied creature that is unconscious, incapacitated, paralyzed, or stunned. Attacks against that creature cannot benefit from advantage, and the allied creature has half cover. As long as you're not also under any of those effects.
This is every tank's dream.
Yeah.
This is every tank's dream. You guys can't see it, but I'm looking right into the camera, which is not running at the moment. But this is specifically for one tank that is in my campaign. This is every tank. Actually, it's not his dream because as the tank, His dump stat is Constitution.
That's a choice.
He'll tell you he rolled poorly, but he still chose Constitution as his dump stat.
Yeah, combat medic
TikTok,
is
TikTok.
a nightmare for your DM.
True. Yes. Well. Heh, heh, heh. But now we come into race-specific feats, which again, listen, if you're not adding these races into your campaign, other people can use these. Whatever. Doesn't matter. But all for one for all gives your Verminkind, so that includes both rat folk and mouse folk, increase your dex or con by 1, and you gain pack tactics. Which, hear me out. If you're already using flanking, this is mean.
Doesn't help you.
Yeah, this is mean to make someone take this. I mean, you get an ability score, yeah, but your pack tactics not helpful.
Also, unless you're running an entire party of Verminkind, not helpful.
I think this is supposed to imply that you can do it with your non-Verminkind folk.
But rules is written.
Yeah.
Like, it literally says, like, you rely on your brothers and sisters to be watching your back, so.
Yeah. You're underground.
Not an
This is
adventure
for
party.
you. But not here. But not here! Speaking of divination, we'll get to that later. Bestial Heritage. This one you're supposed to be part of Verminkind, but I would give this to literally any anthropomorphic animal race. And like if you're a shifter or you're a lycanthrope or a therianthrope, I would let you take Bestial Heritage as well. You get animal handling, and you can do the thing that our bard does. Is it a gnome thing that you can talk to small animals?
It is.
And you learn animal friendship, speak with animals, and animal messenger. You can cast them. You can only cast one of those 3 before you have to take a rest. But still, that's a lot of stuff in one group.
I feel like you should only be able to cast those spells on another vermin.
Ooh, something that's related to you. That makes sense.
Yeah, because like the logic for it says you're descended from beasts and your kind still carries traits that resemble your far ancestors. So I feel like that should really only work for similar animals.
Yeah, like you
Like a
wouldn't
rat's
know.
not talking to a bird.
Yeah, I was going to use that example. Like you don't know peacock dance if you're a dog.
Yeah. Exactly.
I like that.
And likewise, I don't think it should work on like cats or something if you're a Verminkind. Like it stick within the food chain.
Yep.
You can talk down, maybe across. You don't talk up.
I like that. Finally, we get Dreamer for the Chromeleons. You get Divination and Dream spells once per long rest. Whenever you use your Fragments of Memory racial trait, you can add twice your PB to the roll. Still no real psychic powers, though.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, I guess Divination is a psychic power, but like, precog psychic, I want, like, you do get Mage Hand, which I'm realizing is supposed to be your version of telekinesis. But I want real psychic powers.
Yeah.
I want real psychic
I feel like at a minimum, you should be able to cast Detect Thoughts at will for any other Chromeleons around.
Yes.
Like at any point. And then just have it as a castable spell for other species, like maybe once per long rest or something.
I also one thing AOS had suggested was like give them tongue action for the Chromeleons. I also agree. Like give them something cool, besides going to sleep for potentially a century. That is cool.
Spectral tongue. The mage hand is the tongue.
Oh my god, yes. The flavor! Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. And hey, we have backgrounds! There's no commoner here, though. We've already gone over the best background ever, and that's commoner. We're never going to get one better than commoner. Sorry.
I am going to write us a one-shot for commoner backgrounds. This is the thing that's going to happen.
Commoner is so good. I gotta make a note here. Cards for commoners. It's like Cards Against Humanity, but not. Oh, that's good. That's good. It's fantastic. But the first one's Doctor. Hey, you're a doctor. You get medicine and insight. You use Weaver's tools, and you carry around a notebook with drawings of anatomical structures and notes on your patient's history, which is a little weird if you're like a traveling doctor. Yes, big red wall energy. It's weird, like if you're going out as an adventurer to carry confidential patient records with you.
No. So, okay, history background. In the old days, people would write down, it wasn't so much like personal info as like their age, their medical history, what symptoms they presented with, what remedies worked, what remedies didn't. It was their own way of building both a pharmacopoeia that actually worked for them and a way to recognize like when something presented weird, or oh hey, they had this fever 2 days before the rash broke out and it turned out it was this. Like it was how they did that, and then those books would be passed on to their apprentice and everything, so that each generation had
cool.
a greater. Yeah, this was before medical schools and stuff, so that's classic. That's standard.
Okay.
If anybody hasn't read Lady Tan and Her Circle of Women, it is an excellent example of that. And also just a really good book.
I like that you can take a specialty, like this is what your specific doctor is good at, but it doesn't have any effect on anything else within the. It's all for flavor here. Like this is your specialty and you're good. However, the feature that you get from it, anatomical analysis, where whenever you see a corpse that isn't very decayed, you can accurately determine the cause of death as well as the rough time point of death. Like, you are now your murder mystery
You're
DM's
coroner.
Worst nightmare.
Everyone else is standing around like, oh, what happened to Joe? And you walk over, you're like, oh, blunt force trauma about 8 hours ago. We're done here.
I like that ability. I don't know if I would make it a separate, like I wouldn't make that a separate feat. It needs to be part of something.
Yeah.
But it fits in here.
That's a very cool ability.
Personality traits. No, my notes say bond number 1. Oh man, Shin isn't here. My notes say bond number 1. Hey Faust from Guilty Gear. That is essentially his whole thing. Except he's an absolute weirdo in Guilty Gear by the time you meet him as a character. One of his patients died way back in the day. So he is technically a doctor, but he is more famous for cutting people up and poking them in the butt than anything else at this point within the story.
Oh dear. That took a turn.
Yeah. And number 3 is, this is if you're playing an evil character. I will write a compendium on the anatomy of humanoids, and I will become famous with it. How I get my knowledge is none of your concern.
Yeah. How do I know what that tendon does? Well, there's 2 ways to go about it.
It makes me think of, it's very easy to turn this specific background into, oh no, what's his name? It's either Teshu or Tetsu. He became the 3rd playable character in Tenchu, which is a game about ninjas. But the 3rd guy is not a ninja. He's a traveling doctor that people pay to kill with acupuncture. He kills people with acupuncture needles. I was like, oh, you could be a monk doctor. People pay you to just chink, and then somebody's dead. Yay!
Oh, we've talked about this, yeah.
Really wish I could remember his name. That's bad. I used to love that. I love that series. Just none of the Nintendo versions.
It's like that moment in Spy Family near the beginning where Yor does like the pressure points on the stampeding farm animals.
Yes! Oh, Spy Family's so good. So good!
So good.
And now we come to engineers. You're good at things. The only thing I have really in my notes for this specifically is your feature, insightful observation. Whenever you come across any kind of apparatus or machine, you can spend 10 minutes investigating and studying it. You find out any function it may have or has had in the past, and if it's broken, you know why it's broken. As long as it's due to a mechanical problem. You are now the trap solver for your team, and your DM hates you.
Well, 10 minutes is a long time in D&D.
It's true. If you're not in...
Lots of things can happen.
If you're not in combat... And, oh no, I do have one more thing. Bond 6. Why? Oh, I endure the everyday work hazard because it pays well for my family. Oh.
Oh.
Oh. Did I write flaw? Is that what that is? I have no idea what my notes say here. It's just like blah, 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 blah. Okay, just gonna ignore that. Oh, naturalist. Another one that DM Shin would probably love. Poor DM Shin. I hope he's having a better time than he was this afternoon.
Yeah.
Oh, eye for details. That's what it says. That's the feature for this. But you're the dude who walks around with the herbs and you throw them out. You prefer, as like a contrary to being a sage, you prefer animals and plants as opposed to books and learning through reading and stuff like that. The only thing I can think of is this is the background that the main character in the first Valkyria Chronicles would have. Valkyria Chronicles, like war comes to your country and like none of your people are really set out to be soldiers or anything. But the character that you play, he loves animals, so he's constantly like sketching animals and he knows how animals walk and what have you. And a lot of the times he helps his vastly smaller and underfunded army win their engagements because he does things like he follows the path that the deer take, because he knows that like this path is the path of least resistance and nobody's going to see it because nobody shot any of the deer. And like you can get around the enemy troops and stuff. And I'm like, oh, it's so cute. That's so cool. And like he knows which birds are where And like if they're out of their
Yep.
element, he's like, oh, well, somebody's in their habitat.
Mm-hmm.
So this one is you're really good at following animals, and you know whether a plant will harm you if you ingest it. Which doesn't sound like a
That's
lot, but
shockingly useful.
yeah, like it doesn't sound like a lot because most people are just like, oh, I have rations. But if you're on a long adventure and you have to forage and you're using forage rules and what have you, this guy is gonna keep you alive, or girl, or
Yeah.
or Chromeleon, or rat. That'll keep you alive. And it's a really good way for the DM to flesh out what kind of stuff grows in the world, what kind of animals there are. I like Naturalist. I also like that you play instruments, and obviously that just makes me think you're one of those. You're like a Disney princess. You go and you play your whatever your instrument is. Play your flute.
And all the birds come and land around
Yeah.
you, and the chipmunks come and sit on your knee.
Yep.
Just,
This.
I'm reading through the trait ideal bond flaws. These are funny.
Which ones do you like the most?
Yeah. I have a drinking problem. Luckily, I know how to make my own booze. Like that doesn't sound like that would be a problem in a campaign at all. Like I was taught by my mentor, I will teach my students. Sounds almost like a threat.
Yeah, writing it that way, yeah.
That could go either way. That could be like the super kind, gentle, happy days in the woods path, or that could be the like I'm going to hit you with a stick until you can tell me every herb in this yard. Path.
It's up to player discretion.
Yeah.
Actually, DM discretion in this case.
Yeah.
Did
And
your
also,
mentor
whenever
suck?
tell me about your mentor. Whenever I come to a new place, I first spend some time investigating the local flora and fauna. All I'm saying is, like, you've been traveling with your party for so long that, like, you go into a tavern and you book the rooms, and someone's like, wait, I thought you had another person with you. And you're like, yeah, don't worry. The first night, they don't even come inside.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're just going to be in the woods, in the yard, like, talking to the, trees and squirrels and stuff.
I almost hope that whoever takes this as their background is not a druid. Like, I hope it's... Okay, I can't not say this now. I hope it's the barbarian. I love the trope of, like, super will destroy you barbarian, but very in tune with nature. Everyone, all creatures love them.
Yep.
Love that trope. So good.
I love it when somebody takes something just for flavor that's like completely different than their like actual background or class or whatever.
Yes.
Just adds so much to the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of flavor, I hate to do this without Shin,
I know.
but I'm sure he would want me to do this. It is the time of the stream when we ask you to support Okami. And usually Shin says some wonderful things here about the demi-plane of sludge and not making us throw you in it or something. I don't know his part. I will at least do my part and say my part, which is hit the buttons. If you have money, hit the buttons that give Okami money. There's Patreon and YouTube and Twitch subscriptions and Patreon. All those good things. Some of them are stupidly cheap. And if you don't have money, like most of us, but wish you did, then hit the buttons to like the videos, subscribe, share them with friends, do all those good things so that we can keep Okami from ever going back to the demi-plane of sludge.
It's gross there.
And you can don't make him go back. And the other option, I forgot, the other option that we have now for giving Okami money is to buy some very, very cool merch that we have in this shop, and which we are adding to regularly on Redbubble. So you can now find, you are putting that link in the videos, right?
Yep.
Okay. You can
Yep.
buy stuff. There's stickers and hats and shirts and laptop covers and you name it, we've slapped something on it.
It's true.
And it's fun and it's cool. So, and some of it helps get the word out. So buy things or click buttons.
And we can't like we. It's mostly DM Lacara who's doing the designs, and she's awesome at it.
All hail the AI art generators.
I just make the buttons work.
That's the important part. And I make sure you don't like scalp yourself on the rates.
Good, because everyone should know by now how terrible at math I am. That is not my forte.
That's why you got friends.
We're a party. It's not just one of us that can succeed. We gotta go in there and as a party make things happen.
Yeah. Wow, look at all that.
There's so much stuff. But yes, this is an entire, actually it's two new entire supplements within this that are totally new skills, totally new things that you can do. And using these, you're basically adding entire components to the game that frankly should have been there at the beginning, especially with the things that they've mentioned. But they were not, and now they are. And that's Herbalism and Alchemy, which is absolutely fantastic because they are in fact things that we should have had a long time ago, and not even in a galaxy far away. Just here, just here. I'm gonna change the music up again.
Yeah. I think alchemy is something that has been shockingly underutilized in 5e.
Right? Because they even mention people like, oh yeah, this person does alchemy. What do? They sell alchemy. What?
Yeah. No. It's the arcane symbols and the you know, weird decoctions by moonlight and chanting over bubbling cauldrons.
And like we have hags, that's their whole shtick.
Yeah, nobody, I don't know. People don't use that much either.
Very weird. But herbalism is the first thing you're going to go to, and you get whole new skills. So now you have an herbalism modifier, which is your wisdom or intelligence. So like you could do this as a druid, or you can do this as an artificer. Using intelligence, you know what you're doing. Ooh. A monk works too. I mean, anyone with a commoner background, probably not a big into this, but has some help with this, like all home remedies and stuff.
I was gonna say, I could actually see your ranger doing herbalism.
Do I have an herbalism kit though? That doesn't matter. I'm sure he has like some component pouch and so he probably. I'm imagining. Oh, that's a good idea. Massage therapist monk. I'm imagining there's got to be some. Even if Runa himself doesn't do it, there has to be some level of. Have you ever seen How to Train Your Dragon?
Maybe.
Hiccup, the main character, and his mom later on in the series, They sort of like figure out what herbs and things the dragons like, and they befriend them by like basically using dragon catnip and other things that they like playing with. And I'm like, I feel like that makes sense for a ranger to do.
Yeah, definitely. That's how you got QQ.
Ah, I like this idea.
Yeah. Yeah, but you can take herbalism.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna slip into random conversations some of these herbs now.
Yeah, so it doesn't seem like random when you just pull out a new ability.
Yeah, slip them in based on where we are. Oh, that's fantastic.
You know, I have shared so many like cool things like this with the other like players of different things. Like our monk, I tried to get to take the gravitation monk subclass from what was it, like the weird subclasses
Oh,
book that I think you sent me. And I was looking through them all like these are amazing. And I sent the gravitation one to Beats and he was like, I don't really like I guess it would be cool, but I don't know like what I would really do with it. I'm like, you would be a freaking cat monk hanging from the ceiling. What do you mean you don't know what you would do with it? Like, what else do you? He's like, I feel it's like it's kind of OP with how like mobile she already is. I'm like, all right, that's fair. And literally the next session, he did something, and I was like, yeah, gravitation monk would come in real handy right now. I'm like, I don't know why I'm setting myself up for failure, though. I already can't hit you guys.
Fair. I can understand that happening.
Yeah.
I also like that not only did they add herbalism as a whole and put in all these herbs and stuff that you can find that are based on your terrain type. They'll have names and there's different levels, and he says, oh, yeah, you can just ignore the names and just go for you need an herb of this particular rarity to do your stuff. But like telling your players you need to find this, like as fetch quests or as part of some overarching plot hook, like you got to build this potion and you need this and this. This fleshes out your world so much, and it can make you send people places. Do the thing. Go do the thing.
I would have botanical drawings of every one of these things. Like I would, yeah. There is no better way to like to flesh out a world than stuff like this.
This is so cool. I did have in my notes that it's weird. I understand that this is an artificer supplement. It's weird that none of them are. Well, wisdom. Nature is wisdom. That makes sense. I just would have. I understand he wanted to make a new skill. So using will give you a new modifier, so you're not using nature. But I mean, like if you're a druid and you're proficient in nature, I would be like, I'm pretty sure you could figure this out.
Yeah.
But it is cool that it's a whole new skill.
Yeah.
Sick. Is this the one or is it the other one? Oh yeah, the DCs for finding your herbs though, I feel like I would lower, especially common. 13 for a common seems pretty high. I might lower them a little bit. You do get 1 to 4 of everything, but I'm figuring if you're so good at, if this is your shtick, it shouldn't be extra more than default difficult for you to go find this stuff. I was like, I cannot find a proper way to word this. Default difficult, sure. That's what we're gonna go with. 10's usually the baseline. Like commoners have 10 every stat, essentially. Unless they're children, then they usually have like a 8 or lower in strength. But usually you go by 10 is like the default. So these are relatively high. I can understand very rare being over 20. I get that, but common being 13 seems a little high. And again, you can make them as simple or as complicated as you want. He threw in some herbs from they're not Genshin, but it looks so similar to what the stuff from Genshin is. Ooh.
I mean, some of these are real plants. Like, and I find it very weird that hyacinth nectar is very rare.
My mom's got
Like, we think of it
hyacinths.
as a cultivated flower, but they do grow in the wild. And arrowroot, I do not understand why that would be rarer than lavender or fennel.
Fennel!
But, yeah. Okay.
Oh no. Should have muted before that, but my hand to cover my mouth was my mute hand.
Well, your noise gate covered most of it.
Oh, sweet. Yes. I'll take it. Thanks, technology. Some of them have really cool names, though. Like Chromus Slime, Primordial Bomb, Void Root.
I mean, Void Root sounds awful.
I'm pretty partial to Devil's Bloodleaf, and I hope it's like the brightest, happiest looking flower ever. But if you eat it, you'll die.
So that's snake plants have like the worst names. Like snake plant is actually the least terrible name that it has. But it's amazing at cleaning the air.
Huh.
Like it is one of the healthiest plants you can have in your house. But it has its names are literally, I think it's devil's bowstring, snake plant, or the other one is mother-in-law's tongue.
Ooh.
I kid you not.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah. It's like, why would you do that? It's such a nice plant. It's almost impossible to kill. And it cleans the air for you.
Somebody didn't get the memo.
Quicksilver lichen has got to be the coolest name.
You gotta describe it as like it's almost magical in the way that it flows. Like it's gross and not plant-like, almost a liquid. Like, oh, that's cool. Probably very slippery.
Oh, I was thinking of making it be like, you know, the moonlight gardens where people plant all the things that are kind of like white or silvery and night blooming.
Oh, that's pretty.
It's gonna make it one of those things that like only grows at night. Like it has a lifespan of one night.
Oh.
And it's called Quicksilver because it gets like drops of dew on it.
Look at you! Flavor. Flavor is here. I guess maybe
Beans
people did have
ivy is
better.
also awesome.
Oh. Oh, yes. I like that. Maybe they did have better relationships with their mother-in-laws in the past. Maybe. But now we get to alchemy, which I'm sad that Shin, who otherwise goes by Mad Alchemist, or Mad Alchemy, is again not here. Sorry, bro. But there's a whole nother skill.
Are we going to redo this entire episode with him?
I feel like we're at least going to have to ask how he feels, because we know he's feeling something.
Yeah.
He's definitely feeling something. This one, I have in my notes that I think I might go the opposite way, because they say you have an alchemy modifier because there's an alchemy skill, wisdom or intelligence modifier plus your proficiency bonus. If you have an alchemist, if you're good with alchemist supplies or poisoner's kit, but anyone can attempt alchemy. And I feel like if you're not an alchemist, you're not used to using these reagents. These numbers I might push up. Like, you don't know what that does. Stop mixing those. Please don't mix those. And then the whole room explodes. I do like that you have to be certain levels to do stuff here. So I guess that's one way to push people out. Also, there's a lot of money cost here. You might have to be selling oregano to youngsters without them knowing. If you're good with the alchemist kit and what have you, I might lower it a little bit because it's something you know. But for randos, I might raise it.
Yeah.
Get out of my lab, bro. You don't belong here. I do like that they added, if you fail the alchemy check to brew a potion or a poison, because alchemy is, you do one or the other, you lose the ingredient, but you don't lose the solvent. So you can try again as long as you can get another ingredient.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's cool. I do like that you can buy rapiches, not recipes. I know we said we wouldn't make fun of the spelling and grammatical errors, but some of them make me giggle. So my rapiche cost 4,000 gold is a lot. Like, even the common pricing is a lot. Like, you got to know this is what you want to do in most campaigns.
Yeah. Yeah, I've given you guys way too much money. Huh. Well, yeah, but it's for the, I don't know. I feel like that's a reasonable amount for, I mean, you can either experiment on your own, which costs you nothing, but you're probably going to blow up your bowl a lot, or you can
Kaboom!
drop a couple hundred gold and get a real recipe. Like, that seems reasonable to me.
And now there's hours of work it takes, which is different than usual, like, downtime hours, or downtime. This is 6 hours to make to get your recipe correct. But I also feel like, for the most part, I don't think too many DMs are going to be ranking hours of work in this way. Like, I feel like the average DM is going to be like, oh, your character's been learning this. You leveled up. You got something better along the way. Now you know how to get it. I don't know if I'm going to make people work those hours downtime. If, like, I know they're working on something, like, I might give it to them. Like, they've earned it when they do something right. That kind of thing. Like, oh, you figured out this part. That could just be me because my players are so averse to downtime. They would rather micromanage every minute of every day than say, yeah, I did this on my off time.
Yeah.
Totally normal. Yep. That's how most players are. Yep. 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 And then there's this extra blurb is basically like, oh yeah, you could change the cost if it fits better into your campaign. You could change the ingredients if it fits better into your campaigns. They specifically mention how, oh, it's great if you give people rewards that aren't XP. Oh my god. What's that like? My players hate rewards that aren't XP. They hate them. There is only XP. My notes actually say, fucking helpful loot instead of XP? We can't have that. Their inventories are full. Full. There's so much stuff. Usually training for a skill is, if you go by Tasha's, 10 work weeks minus your int modifier in weeks. But I usually run it in minus whatever modifier relates most to the skill you're trying to learn.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Because some of them, it shouldn't be intelligence. But yeah. And then there's a list of potions that you can make, and then the recipe, the rarity for how likely it would be to have that recipe. These are basically all regular potions that exist already. I don't think there's any special ones on this first page. I don't know if a potion of psychic resistance exists in canon, but like, it makes sense that there is one. I don't know exactly how it's going to work, but it makes sense that there is one since you gain resistance to every other kind of damage. And then the potions of giant strength, yep, that makes sense. And there's another page which is more of the weird potions that also exist, like potion of water breathing and growth and climbing, and potion of invulnerability, potion of mind reading. Those all do exist. This is just everything that pops up when you look up all the weird potions. And then poisons. This I think is super cool because I mean it makes sense in my campaign where you have people who are spliced and have bits and pieces of other creatures and their traits. So I love that finally someone wrote down. First of all, he split the different kinds of poisons. There are different kinds of poisons, which is cool. But he has rules for how you can pull things out of those creatures. Like if you need some kind of poison to be extracted, there are rules. The creature has to be incapacitated or dead. Harvesting requires 1d6 minutes, followed by the DC 20 intelligence nature check is a bit high, depending on what you're trying to get your poison from. I think if like your character studied these creatures, I might lower that check. Or if they've done this before, might also lower that check. I do like that if you fail the check by 5 or more, you get poisoned by whatever poison you were trying to extract. Oh, that's clever. I like that. Like, you can fail hard.
Yeah, that's great.
And I love creature harvesting. I have in my notes to explain inhaled, because poisons are powders or gases that take effect when inhaled. Whenever you're in the area, this makes sense. My players have in the past, they didn't want to get fungal spores. It would have given them a disease that could have potentially turned them into like Last of Us type cordyceps zombies. And the way that they got around it was our genasi shaped water around the players' heads so that they could just walk through the cloud without anything getting in because it would get stopped by the water. But this one says holding your breath is ineffective because it's going to go into your nasal membranes and your tear ducts and any other holes on your body. And I love that is there. I thank you for putting that in there. Make it as scary as possible for your players, okay? Can you guys hear that?
Hear what?
Oh, no, that's a car outside. Oh, something is very broken in that car. I just heard what sounded like a duck sputtering out. And I was like,
Nope,
is that my computer?
Oh no.
And then I look outside and I see the hazard lights are on this car that's going extremely slow past my house. Yes, definitely don't drive that on the highway. Whatever's happening there, you need to stop it.
So does this tell you where you get the different ones from, or is this just
So,
Um,
the way that this one is broken down is if you're on the poisons table in the rarity column, if it says special, that means you have to extract it.
as opposed to being able to mix it
Yeah.
from something. Okay.
Which and the things that you have to extract from are wyverns, giant serpent, purple worm, which is insane. Good luck to you, sir. No, sorry, that's wrong. Carrion crawler mucus, disgusting. But yeah, purple worm, you are insane. Giant venomous duck. Oh no. Oh no.
Duck of Doom.
I have Harunk, the god of honks. I can share that with you. I have one of the things I don't like though is that there's injury. Is it gonna give me a list? So injury are the ones that you put on your weapons or your trap components or other objects that deal piercing or slashing damage, so that whenever you hit someone, you apply the poison. The problem is all of them, their damage is all save or suck. And oh wait, no, maybe not. Nope. It was before I got to them. Serpent Venom is not save or suck. You do take half damage if you save. Okay, that's good. But where's it? Where's Sleepy Poison? Oh, where are you? Come on. Come on.
Torpor.
Ooh, that one's good too. But I really like because I'm evil. Essence of Ether, where you become unconscious for 8 hours after inhaling it. And I was like,
Wow.
I can really mess with my players this way. I sent it. I sent it immediately to Shin, and he was like, "Yes, it's night time for your party." And I was like, "Isn't it though? Isn't
Hey,
it?
thank you for following. Okami, somebody click the buttons.
Yay!" I didn't see the notification. I wasn't paying attention. No.
I just looked in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. Oh, you know why? It's because I was right. I said at the beginning, it's weird that I need two versions of the same chat open to see everything that's happening in them. And it is true. I do. The OBS version of YouTube chat only lets me see certain things. And they've only recently made it so that I can use my YouTube emotes in that chat. So I'm going to start opening my own YouTube chat afterwards. Seems like Twitch is okay-ish when you've popped out the chat. But I gotta really do YouTube chat. I want to see stuff. Thank you for the follow, though. Yeah, there's tons of poisons in here, which is fantastic. If you need to stab your players, or your players want to stab things real hard, or blow stuff on them. I couldn't think of a way to say that without it sounding weirdly sexual, and it still came out weirdly sexual. Sorry. My bad.
It's okay. I thought the drow poison was poison secreted by drow. And I was like, I didn't know they did that. Secreted, there's another word that like you can never make sound normal.
It's true. I don't know why I'm typing this. Oh, I'm typing this so I can give you a link. But yeah, I dual stream DM Roundtable on both YouTube and Twitch. Right now, Iron Fist is in the Twitch chat. You can hang out with him too if you'd like that instead of YouTube chat. Iron Fist usually comes in near the end. I love Carrion crawler, like you're like you've got like a vial out, and you're like, yeah, drip into my vial, you nasty, disgusting creature.
So gross.
Makes me laugh every time. I gotta go get it. Ew. Ew. Oh, that means my notifications are
That's
not
what
on because they should have played music. Oh, come on, Streamlabs, cut me some slack.
that's what Mage Hand is for.
Yep. Just leave that vial out there. Oh, that's for you, you nasty, nasty boy. There's also Truth Serum is on here, which I think is a cool poison. They can't knowingly speak a lie as if under the effect of Zone of Truth. I don't think Zone of
I was
Truth
gonna
lasts an hour,
say,
but does it?
I was gonna say, finally something better than Zone of Truth.
Nah, sorry.
Nope.
But I feel like you can at least say this one, they don't necessarily know what's happened to them. Like, the player will make the roll.
That's true.
If you tell them they fail, they don't necessarily know that it's Truth Serum. Though they'll probably figure out something's weird if they go to tell a lie and you go,
Yeah.
I gotta go fix my alerts. Dang it! So disappointing. But yeah. We're actually, so there was Herbalism and then Alchemy. The next section is all new spells. So I think we're going to take a peek at them next week.
Yeah.
We'll wait for DM Shin, and maybe Dungeon Mommy will come next week. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah.
It'd be nice to have a full team.
I want to bother DM Bacon and be like, hey, what do you do on Mondays now? But I feel like he's never coming back. Which is sad. I miss him. I definitely think Shin's guess was correct that we will probably be done next week. So then no poll. Like I said at the beginning, no poll because we're going to do the rest of Archibald's archive. We do have spells to go through, then items, and then I think it's spells, items, and then basically an entire supplement on how to build an automaton. Oh, and then at the very end is upgrades to tools that like you usually get at the beginning of the game, like hunting traps or alchemist's fire, and how to make them get better over time. Hey! Twitch notifications are working. So why aren't YouTube notifications? All right, I'll take one of them working. Thanks for the follow, man. Hello. But yeah, we have. I think we'll finish the next one. I think we'll finish the supplement by next week. But I also feel like we're gonna have to. We'll go back and let Shin tell us his feelings about alchemy and herbalism, because we know he has feelings. I mean, not even in a mean way like that. Like, oh yeah, he's got feelings. You guys know what I mean.
No, he loves herbalism stuff and druidical things, and he should get to talk about it.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll need some happy chat time about D&D as well.
Yeah.
His day did not go as well as he was hoping for.
Yeah. Days like that. But I hope everyone's okay. And that he's back next week.
Yeah. So, we hope you guys enjoyed. Oh, sorry. No, this is D&D related. We hope you players of all classes enjoyed. Ha ha! No poll this week because we're going to finish Archibald's archive next week. Then there'll be a poll. So we'll be back Monday nights at 8. Stickbug. Does Stickbug have a fro on Twitch? He does. What? I'm so not versed in fun Twitch emotes. I'm so not versed in them. But yeah, we'll pick up next week with Magical Miscellany. I know that you will have things to say about Archibald's geometrical shapes, because even I have things to say about Archibald's geometrical shapes, and I hate math.
So do I.
But you have to use it all the time. You can't hate it.
I can. I can though. Cool. I'm looking forward to some geometry that breaks my brain.
Yeah. It won't be as cool as oh my god, the labyrinth though.
Oh, nothing's as cool as the labyrinth.
Best weird geometry ever.
Yeah.
All right.
That good non-Euclidean stuff.
Ah, good stuff. We will see you guys and gals next week. Come on.
Bye.
Monday. I don't know if I'm going to be streaming. DM Shin might be streaming during the week. You can find his links in the description of the YouTube videos. Also in my people I'm following. Yeah, on Twitch. If you want to look him up. He does a lot of... he's been playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2 in the Capcom release that just came out. I don't think I have any other streams planned for the week. The Modrons don't technically make an appearance, but some of their... Calcifer makes an appearance. Sorry, Sindrid will make an appearance next week. The Modrons don't technically make an appearance, but some of their abilities were definitely adapted for the build your own automaton. I love the idea that someone was like, I'm going to give you all the traits, you slap them together and make your own thing. And I'm going to steal like so many of these abilities and put them on enemies my player's face. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I'm so ready for this. But yeah, tune in next week at 8 and have a good week if we don't see you guys. You can always come to the Discord and chill with everyone except DM Lacara. But if you want to tell DM Lacara something, you can tell us and then we'll tell her. Yes, I wish it was a Bionicle. Oh my god. I'm going to go immediately after this stream. I'm going to close down the stream and go into Streamlabs and be like, test YouTube alerts. Just slam the buttons down. Test. Bye everybody on Twitch.